On behalf of CQ and all of our supporting partners and sponsors, I'd like to be the first to welcome you to the 11th Financial Education and Capability Awards ceremony, an evening dedicated to celebrating the remarkable achievements of those who are at the forefront of advancing financial literacy in Maryland.
The awards came about from the Financial Education and Capability Commission. The commission members really wanted to honor those who were doing high quality and effective financial education in Maryland, both in elementary, middle, and high school public school teachers, as well as organizations and individuals. But the commission didn't have the authority to create a program. So 3 members of the commission, which are Maryland Council on Economic Education, the Maryland State Department of Education, and the Cash Campaign, came together to develop and implement the program.
3 things come to mind with financial literacy. One is that we all don't win the birth lottery in terms of what our parents know. So I think that's what school does very well, is it transitions us to learn things that we may not have gotten from our families. And I think one of those things that are most important is financial literacy, being able to understand what we do with money and where we put it matters. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons to have financial literacy early, so we can figure out maybe some strategies for generational wealth to begin at a younger age. I think 2 is that hopefully it encourages us to realize the value that we all have, and that we do have that inherent ability to, I think, make money as younger people with those kinds of incentives, being entrepreneurial. And I think in schools we could even push a little into that idea of how the lemonade stand of the 21st century becomes maybe a digital, service that you're providing as a young person. And I think having financial literacy that expands ideas of innovation like that. And 3rd, I think it's just a thing that we all deserve to have is financial freedom, and I think that comes from financial literacy. I think you have to understand the vocabulary, you have to understand the ways that money does operate, and I think that value system inherently is not something that we get. I think it's very abstract, so I think that having that literacy as a foundational base for decision making with what we do in our lives matters, and the sooner we start, the better. I think that's why we should have financial literacy as something that we're all celebrating, like tonight, for young people to have for their life.
So MCE, along with our partners, the Cash Campaign of Maryland and the Maryland State Department of Education, were part of the founding of these awards, and we've been excited to be here to celebrate educators and community members who are making a huge difference in financial education for 11 years. I think it's great to recognize those that are doing exceptional work as an example for other community members and other educators to follow, so that they can be inspired in their workplace or in their classrooms to really engage not only students but adults as well in learning the tools that they need to manage their finances and their financial decisions well.
It opens up their whole world. It sets the tone for the rest of their lives. And teaching them how to save and invest and research, it just gives them the tools that they need to set them up for future success. Bringing in current events, that has been a huge success. Every day we start off with the morning brew. Actually, I get the morning brew every day, and I read it to see what's going on and how it's affecting things that are happening in the world. And the kids always come in and they're like, "Oh, we're ready for the brew. What's going on?" And so we just talk about the things that are happening. We talk about the Disney board, the fight over the seats in the Disney board, or AI chips, and the fact that they're trying to put the money here in the United States so we don't have to rely on things in Asia. All of those things really help open the eyes of the kids to how things impact the world of finance. And then when they're making the decisions for what they're going to invest in, they really are tuned in to how those things impact and how they make a difference. And they take it home and they talk about it with their families, and it just gets them talking. And I think that's really important.
First thing I'd like to say is I think straight from experience or not having experience was I was never exposed to any of that when I was in school. And once we added this into our curriculum, I could see the value that the kids got from it, and the real life experiences they were preparing for that I never had as a kid. And and I was post college and everything, and getting out in the real world, just figuring these things out. And wish we could have had some of that when I was in school too. But But now, I think we're preparing these kids for maybe an easier time in the future, or, giving them some skills that they'll be ready to use, the moment they're out into the working world and, reaching adulthood. We started right off the front, very beginning of the year. We've got a bunch of lessons that we do about a month and a half into the beginning of the school year with a focus solely on the financial literacy stuff. We want to do that before. I'm also a social studies teacher, so all my history stuff I kind of wait on. And we start with the financial literacy stuff. I think it is the most impactful stuff that we do. So we're getting them all these lessons up front, and we run the whole gamut of things. We do lessons with, there's some research that we do into looking at careers. The kids will use the Department of Labor and Statistics and look at their website and try to find out what careers match them the most, and their skills, their aptitudes, what can they pick to do when they're looking toward college and beyond. We do lessons in how to save and invest their money. The difference in bank accounts, a certificate of deposit or a checking account, a savings account, and those kind of things too. We get to, in the very end, we also get to do a simulation where they will receive a character, and with that character they have a budget, and they have to say, all right, well, I'm this person, and these are all the things I need to do in my fake simulated life, and try to figure out how to budget my money in the best way possible with what I've been given. It's not always their pick, it's something random. So I think that we have a lot of good experiences for them, things to get them really thinking about it, and more, personal experience too, letting them pick the careers rather than just saying, here, this is what you're gonna have.
Financial education and capability, that's the most important thing that everyone in the state of Maryland needs to know, because money is our common denominator. We all need to know how to make it work for us, whether we have a lot or a little. I'm Susan Bestranson, longtime financial education advocate, and I'm so pleased to accept the award of financial education for high school this year.
Financial education is important for a number of reasons. We see a lot of people who are still struggling after the pandemic, but I've been in the field for more than 10 years, and it's just that freedom that comes with knowing that you can make choices, and that you have planned, and that you are ready to take on responsibilities is such a wonderful feeling. I always talk about freedom of choices with my clients, and so that comes when you work on your credit score and you work on your budget and you have stable housing, and it all just makes life so much easier, so many less headaches, so much lower blood pressure, and just, the ability to take your life where you want to go. I have a background where I did struggle myself, and I try to be very authentic and honest in my teaching. I don't have high expectations where if someone is at a point where they don't even know what a 401k is, that we're talking about a 401k, I try to really stay in the environment that my clients are really comfortable in and look at it as a learning process. We're going to learn together. And I also want them to understand the emotional side of spending, where their impulses are and what they need to watch out for themselves.
Yeah, it's essential for Alice households. So at United Way, we focus on Alice households, those who are asset limited, income constrained, but employed, the working families in our community who are unable to afford a basic cost of living. Often our Alice households don't have the executive skills like personal budgeting, or the understanding of how a credit report is developed and how meaningful that may be in your long-term history, and how to file taxes or with whom to file taxes. At United Way, through our Prosperity Center and our Pathways to Financial Stability, we're able to provide all of those elements, plus match savings to purchase a home and a match program to purchase a car. In rural communities, transportation independence is essential because we simply do not have the public transportation infrastructure that you might have in a more urban community. It's all part of our pathway to financial stability, and in that case, our pathway to home ownership. So our goal is to get Alice individuals who may never have considered to purchase a home the ability to purchase a home. And that budget coaching is absolutely essential to all of that, because many of our folks may have never put together a personal or household budget before. Now they're thinking about owning a home. Boy, they really have to understand the basic essentials. And we see what we do is we match that the client with a volunteer, and what we're finding is that client volunteer relationship far surpasses their budget coaching experience. They become friends, and that mentor-mentee relationship exists beyond the confines of our program, and that's really delightful to see.
So it's so critical for people to learn the confidence and the skills to manage money. Learning about money is hard. We don't have it consistently growing up learning about it, and there's all kinds of changes and nuances to it, particularly around credit scores. So it's really important for people to find a really fact-based financial education, and we provide that in the Cash Academy website, www.mdcashacademy, where people can go take a class to learn any different aspects around personal finance.